Hey guys, how's it going? I just finished watching Peacemaker Season 2 and I wanted to talk about it. So, spoilers for Peacemaker Seasons 1 and 2. Let me start this off by saying I really liked episodes 1 through 7 of Season 2. I do have some small changes I would make for the finale just to make it a little more anticlimactic. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good season. And so, we're going to get into some of the changes or rewrites I would make that would, I think, make the finale more satisfying while also not changing the course or trajectory that James Gunn wants to take the DCU with the Salvation arc, like we see Chris Smith in the Salvation Planet, and also the creation of the organization Checkmate that he established in Episode 8. So, let's get into it. This is how I would change the finale in a minor way that would be more satisfying and keep us on track. Also, I forgot to mention spoilers for Creature Commandos. Everything I'm going to be talking about with the changes has to do with this character, G.I. Robot. For those that haven't seen Creature Commandos, he's a lovable android who enjoys nothing more than killing armies of Nazis. He was created in World War II and obviously doesn't age or die. So following World War II, he's lost his purpose now that the Nazi movement has, for the most part, been destroyed on Earth. But however, he's still alive in the modern world and fighting with the Creature Commandos in that show. And one thing I just want to point out is James Gunn talked a lot about the integration between animation and live action. And I was actually, after watching Creature Commandos, really excited to see them come into live action. So when I realized Peacemaker Season 2 was about a Nazi Earth, I got very excited because I thought it was the perfect opportunity to introduce a character whose sole focus and drive is to kill Nazis in a world filled with modern-day Nazis. However, I was fairly disappointed when he clearly did not show up in the episode, and maybe that's my fault for setting too high of expectations or my own headcanon. However, I just think that was a really big missed opportunity to not have a Nazi-killing robot in a series where Peacemaker goes to a Nazi Earth. Again, just big complaint. With that being said, here's the minor change I would make for Peacemaker Season 2. I really liked episodes 1 through 7. I would not change anything about them. And we left off episode 7 with Keith, Peacemaker's alternate world brother, going into an ambulance after being stabbed by the 11th Street kids. And we see he has an angry face. He's been beaten up. And Peacemaker's not only killed his brother, their version of Chris Smith, but his father as well. Which is an interesting parallel because this would show that Peacemaker has killed the Keith of his universe, his own father in his universe, as well as be responsible for now the death of Keith's brother, Chris Smith, their version of Peacemaker, and then their father as well. So it makes for a really interesting revenge arc for Keith, the brother, to now want revenge on our version of Peacemaker. I know that was a lot of back and forth parallels, but stay with me. So episode 8 would follow after the events with Chris Smith being defeated by Keith Smith being defeated by the 11th Street Kids and assembling an army of Nazis as he prepares to go through the portal and seize our version of the DCU. He breaks into the portal, the alternate dimension, and takes out the Argus agents in that warehouse compound, defeating them and claiming he will only return to his world once he's delivered their version of Chris Smith, Peacemaker. This could be a cool just confrontation between Keith and Frank Grillo's Rick Flag Sr., the two villains of the season. Just give them some screen time together. And at this point, Chris Smith is in prison, and so it's a pretty easy fix for Rick Flag to get him out of prison and deliver him to Keith. As Rick Flag Sr. goes to break Peacemaker out of prison in exchange for Keith to return to his world, he's confronted by the 11th Street Kids, and they come up with a plan where they will use Peacemaker as bait in order to stop Keith and the Nazis and send them back to their world. When asked how they will handle an army of Nazis, Rick Flag smirks and says he's going to call him back up. This is where we bring in the live-action cameo of G.I. Robot. In a perfect world, and if the budget allowed it, I'd say bring in all the Creature Commandos. We've already seen live action Weasel, and but I understand if it would be too expensive to do Dr. Phosphorus, who's all CGI. So at the minimum, G.I. Robot, in assistance to the Checkmate team as they take out the Nazis. I think this is really fun to have just like a battle in those interdimensional portals going back and forth between the different realities. With G.I. Robot and the 11th Street Kids fighting the Nazis, and then Chris Smith, aka Peacemaker, would take out his brother Keith as they have an emotional conclusion to the story arc between the two of them, with the result ending them defeating the Nazis and sending them back to their world. Following this final battle, you could have basically much the same as we got with the original season finale, with them having an official organization or building for Checkmate, and then an end credit scene of Rick Flag Sr. pitching salvation to the government, and then him kidnapping Peacemaker, putting a hood over his head, and throwing him into that alternate universe of salvation, which will lead into future DCU projects. Again, it would not change the trajectory of any future projects at all, but what do you guys think? Do you like this pitch? Is this something you would have liked to have seen? Some more incorporation from characters like G.I. Robot or any crossover? Or did you like the finale? Or did you think it was satisfying? I really appreciate you listening. Please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, dropping a comment. Did you like this video? Did you not like it? We're all open to your opinion here. So thanks again for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time.